Hello and welcome to Chapter 27, Urinary System Disorders. Our learning objectives for today, discussing specific electrolytes needed to achieve homeostasis and to balance extracellular and intracellular fluids, describing how and what anti-infectives are used for urinary tract infections, explaining the role of urinary tract analgesics and antispasmodics in the treatment of urinary tract conditions, discussing enuresis and the medication used for its treatment, discussing medication used for treating an overactive bladder, OAB, and providing patient education for compliance with medications used to treat diseases and conditions of the urinary system. So here's some basics of the urinary tract disorder drugs. We have diuretics, antimicrobials or sulfonamides, urinary tract antiseptics, urinary tract antispasmodics, and medication for enuresis. These drugs come in prescription, over the counter, or both. And it's important to also note that some of these medications alter urine color. And so I want you to look at table 27.1, and I want you to take note of the medications that alter urine color. The discoloration of the urine is a connection to the medication, and often this freaks our patients out. So we want to know and understand which medications cause the discoloration. Some common symptoms of urinary tract disorders include anorexia, nausea, vomiting, malaise, fatigue, lethargy, nocturia, hematuria, pyuria, and proteinuria, dysuria, urgency and frequency, pain in the lumbar region or flank, fever, edema and ascites, and hypertension and shortness of breath. Urine is manufactured in the kidneys, not in the bladder, and it passes through the two canals, the ureters, into the urinary bladder for storage. The kidneys regulate homeostasis, maintain fluid and electrolyte balance, and eliminate body waste through the urine. Some common side effects of urinary tract disorder medications are drying of secretions, drowsiness, dizziness, rash, gastrointestinal symptoms, headaches, bradycardia and tachycardia, and discolored urine. It's important to communicate the possibility of change in urine color based on medication so that we are sure that we do that patient education and our patient understands why their urine has changed colors. There are some other drug types not normally associated with urinary tract disorders that can affect the color of patients' urine as well. Something like laxatives, and they sometimes contain different items that can change the urine to pink or red or brown color. So here we see an image of the urinary system. You can find this on figure 27.1. The urinary tract system is composed of two kidneys, two ureters, a bladder, and a urethra. The bladder is sufficiently full at approximately 250 milliliters of urine, and this prompts urination typically at that time. In males, the urethra is surrounded by the prostate gland. What do you think then might be the effects of an enlarged prostate on a male? If it's enlarged, urine may be retained in the bladder because of the way it is, the pressure that's put on the bladder. An enlarged prostate with retained urine is the main reason for bladder infections in older men. Here we see in table 27.1, the medications that may alter urine color. Again, patient education is key on this, and patients need to be aware that UTI medications may change the color of their urine depending on the type of medication that's being used. Please make sure to take some time to look at this table. Diuretics are used to treat the edema that occurs with cirrhosis, nephrotic disease, and renal failure. The place of action depends on the segment of the nephron that is affected. And for further information on diuretics, we also saw this information in 27, the circulatory system. Diuretics modify kidney function for increased diuresis. Diuresis is the loss of water in the body, which means sodium, potassium, and chloride are also lost. Diuretics are among the most widely used of all drugs. Take some time in your book to also look at figure 27.2, and this is nephron sites and diuretics, and you'll see this better in your book. It'll be larger for you. Patient education with use of the diuretics. Take in the morning so medication will not interfere with sleep. Eat foods rich in potassium if taking thiazide diuretics, and watch for signs of orthostatic hypotension and electrolyte imbalance. Patients who are taking diuretics should be aware of several conditions, and patients need to be made aware of the conditions when diuretics are prescribed. Approximately 60% of our body weight is water in intracellular and extracellular fluids. So here we see a chart or a table, 27.2, signs of electrolyte imbalance. And I want you to take a look at this in your book. It's important to note that infants and very young children are at greater risk for dehydration because of the high ratio of body surface area to body weight and immaturity of their kidneys. And again, we talked about this in our office procedures, that if a young child or a baby has had loose stools over the last 24 hours, so diarrhea, and they have a fever, they need to be seen immediately to make sure that their hydration is kept up. So urinary tract infections, UTIs. Symptoms include frequency, urgency, dysuria, incontinence, hematuria, and voiding only small amounts of urine at a time. About 90% of all UTIs are caused by Escherichia coli, and the bladder can be irritated by acidic foods. Urinary tract infections are the most common bacterial infections reported in the United States. I'm going to say that again. Urinary tract infections are the most common bacterial infections reported in the United States. Urinary tract infections are divided into upper UTI and lower UTI. Now let's look at foods that irritate the bladder. These would be alcoholic beverages, apples and apple juice, cantaloupe, carbonated beverages, chocolate, citrus fruits, coffee, spicy foods, guava, peaches, plums, strawberries, tea, tomatoes, vinegar, and vitamin B complex. And for some reason, sugars seem to cause more problems in females than males. It's not fair, is it? If the symptoms of lower UTIs are related to diet, eliminating the irritating food should bring significant relief in a week to 10 days. As the symptoms are relieved, the suspected food can be slowly added back into the diet one at a time, and making sure that it doesn't re-cause the irritation. Here we have a list of some medications for urinary tract infection. You might utilize some of these in your list this week for the most commonly used. And drugs are divided into sulfonamides, analgesics, antispasmodics, muscle relaxants, and drugs and uresis, which is bedwetting. UTI medications in the sulfonamides. Sulfonamides are drugs of choice for UTIs. TMP and SMZ is the preferred medication for UTIs. Side effects of the TMPs and SMZs are hypersensitivity, kernicterus, and renal injury. Sulfonamide should be discontinued at the first sign of hypersensitivity reaction, and sulfonamides may increase the effects of warfarin and oral hypoglycemics. Sulfonamides are used as the first-line drug for treatment of UTIs because they are lower in cost. Penicillins are also used against enteric-caused bacterial infections, but their usefulness is decreasing as the E. coli develops a resistance. So causes of prophylaxis of UTIs. So E. coli is the most common cause of uncomplicated UTIs. Most UTIs can be treated on an outpatient base with oral medications. Prophylaxis for a UTI may be achieved with low doses of trimethoprim, TMP, SMZ, or urinary antiseptics. Patient education with these UTI medications. The patient needs to take the sulfamides drug of choice on an empty stomach with a full glass of water, complete the entire course of treatment, avoid prolonged exposure to sunlight, and drink 8 to 10 8-ounce glasses of water each day. Antiseptic, analgesics, and antispasmodics. Antiseptics are the second-line drug choice for UTIs. Pyridium can be used as an analgesic or an anesthetic on the urinary tract mucosa. Pyridium is used only for the symptomatic relief of burning, pain, discomfort, or urgency. Urinary antispasmodics reduce the strength and frequency of urinary bladder contractions. Nitrofurantoin, ethenamine, nalidixic acid, and siloxane are the 4 medications used as urinary tract antiseptics. They are used primarily for lower UTI. Let's look at patient education for antiseptics, analgesics, and antispasmodics. Pyridium may change urine to an orange-red color, which may possibly stain clothing. Large doses of vitamin C will promote acidic urine, making urinary antiseptics more effective. Fever may be a sign of drug reaction. Urinary antispasmodics may cause drowsiness. Urinary antispasmodics reduce strength, frequency of urinary bladder contractions, and Detrol treats overactive bladder. It relaxes the bladder muscles. Other side effects of antispasmodics include GI symptoms, vertigo, drowsiness, blurred vision, constipation, dry mouth, and occasional nausea and vomiting, insomnia, and urinary retention. Additional miscellaneous urinary tract medications. So bedwetting is common in children, and tofranil improves the bedwetting symptoms in some children. It's important to note that withholding fluids at bedtime is not effective in treating bedwetting, and tofranil is an antidepressant that improves the symptoms of bedwetting in some children. Then Detrol, which we talked about in the previous slide, is a new medication for treating an overactive bladder. It acts by relaxing the bladder muscles. This concludes our lecture, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.